Hello and welcome to Crafting with Jane. Today I am going to do a rather fun deep sea card. I was given I'm always so grateful for my crafty friends in this world. I was given a whole pile of Creative Expressions dies. A friend of mine was on their design team for last year, and she had a lot of dies that she said she would never use. So I was like, oh, I love ones that are to do with the sea. So this is called Neptune. There's all sorts of other bits with it. I've got some of them. I haven't got all of them because, as I say, they were a gift. I will try and put a link down below to it if you're interested. But this is the Neptune die. And it does it cuts and then it sort of embosses on there. Now, his face is a bit sort of strange, so I'm going to be doing it slightly differently. And this is the background I'm going to use. This is one of the ones that we made a little while ago that I've cut down and done in brushos. If you look back, you'll be able to see some of them. So what I thought to start off with was that I would colour him in. Now, rather than die cutting him in a solid colour, because of all the detail, I want to do him with the detail. So I'm going to start with a sort of a peachy colour for his skin tone, because obviously he's sort of in the water. So it's that's the right sort of tone, I think. So I've got sponge daubers out, and I'm just literally going to go over where his body is. So he's a bit suntanned, but you won't see a lot of it because a lot of it is going to be just we're going to do some gold gilding wax over the top. I was trying to think of the word for a minute. Right, I'm going to do is a little bit of sort of facey bit on here, because he's sort of got a bit of sort of a nose and stuff coming through on there. Maybe a little bit more on his hands like that. Okay, so that's his sort of hands and things done. Now I want to do his hair. So his hair is going to be a sort of a grey colour. So this is smoky slate, and I'm just going to just sort of bring that up like that. So you've got a little bit coming through on there, and then I'm going to do his tail. And his tail is very much like a mermaid's tail in my eye. So, you know, again, you can colour things in how you want, but if, for example, you've got fish or a mermaid or something like that, I tend to do them with green and blue, and then that gives that sort of depth of sea tone. Now I'm holding this a little bit because obviously this part of the tail is going to be a little bit more delicate. So but I believe these are all available still on Creative Expressions, so you know, pop over and have a look if you want to. I always try and show you where I got my things from, but and then this is the blue, which is an old blue called Dapper Denim, but it was one of my favorites, so I'm just going to do that over the top, give this a little bit of deeper color coming through, so you have that sort of sea tone coming through, and you've got that on there. So I think that works quite nicely. Don't need to do any more on those, so I can just, I'm just going to stick them up. Excuse my hand coming, but my shelf is literally in front of me, so I'm just putting that out of the way so we don't have too much in the way everywhere. I'm going to put that there because I might actually do something around the side. Now I want to put some gilding wax on there, so I have got my gilding wax is Pebeo Gilding Wax. Very, very good. I've had it for years, literally, and all you do is just take, my nails are a little bit long at the moment, just take a little bit on your finger and then you can rub it in over the top, and you can do it as dark or as light as you want. So depending how much you press and how much you actually gather depends how much you put on the side. So I don't have too much on there, but I do want to have enough so that it gives a real sort of gilded look to it, because again it picks up those embossed features, and that I think looks really nice. So I try and do enough that it picks up those features quite nicely. And you can always add more, but it's very difficult to take it away, so I just sort of keep adding until I've got enough of what I want. And then once you've finished rubbing it in, if you leave it just for a few minutes, now this is going to go onto this background, so I think that's about right. I don't think I want too much more in on there, so I'm going to leave that like that. Just pop the lid in on there, and I'm just going to clean my finger off, otherwise I have this, I always think of the James Bond movie Goldfinger. So it does wash off. I tend to wash it off with a bit of soap and stuff, but you can see it does, even just with this rag, it just comes off fairly easily, so you don't have to overly stress about it. But as I say, I use my finger for most things because I find it easier. And then once it has dried for a few seconds, then all you need to do is to just take a little piece of kitchen roll and you just buff it, and then it gives it a real shine and makes it look, as I say, as if it's got some real sort of gold on it, which I think is just lovely. And because it's a wax, it's a bit like polish, isn't it? You know, when you polish something and you polish it up, it comes in beautifully. Okay, so you've got all of that coming in, you've got all of the detail. So I did another one earlier on, and again I've just put a little bit more, I think, on there on the tail. It really doesn't matter, but that's going to sit there like that. And what I want to do is I just want to add a little bit more to this sort of background on here, and I think all I'm going to do is add some, says me, I never get my gold Posca pens out. I want the fat ones this time, I think, but I might have just some splatters or something on here, because I do like the way the splatters come. Okay, so first of all, I just want to take an edge. Now, because we've got a bit of gold on there, I'm going to have the gold pen for the edge. Shake it first. Now, I always use, this is an old ruler, but you can see that it's got a metal edge. I try to use those rather than the plastic ones, because you can find that it drags and then smudges. A metal ruler tends to be a bit easier, so I'm just literally going to take that round on the side there. I'm doing quite a wide border, which is why it's got a wide nibbed pen, this one. There's different sizes of Posca pens that you can get, and this, as I say, is quite a large one, so works out quite well. There we go. Okay, so we've got, sorry, my cloth's just fallen down. So that's our edging, which looks lovely. And then what I might do is I want to add some splatters and things on there. So I've got some blues, which I think will work quite nicely, because I want to give that sort of sea tone, and some greens as well. Now these are the sparkly ones, because again it'll give a bit of sparkle in the water. Let's put it back in the right pot. So on this one, I'm going to, now I try and get something really quite hard to shake it with. Give it a good shake first. Take the lid off, and then can you see how that's immediately coming out nicely? So I'm just taking that up, and that's in the green. That's the green. Now we've got 2 lots of blue on here. So I'm going to take this blue one, which is quite nice. And then we'll have the other blue, which is a slightly darker blue. Which is nice. So that are those. When they dry, they'll give a real sparkle to them, which I think is lovely. And then I just want to, I'm going to add a little bit of gold and white, I think, because it just builds up a layer to it, and I really like the way it builds up a layer. So I'm just going to take some white on here, because that can sort of be foamy, can't it, for the water. Lovely. So that comes in on there, and then I'm just going to take some of the gold, put that in on there, and we'll just have some splats of gold in on there as well. Lovely. Okay, so those are my splats. Now my splats are quite small because I'm using a small nibbed pen, but you can see on there all the different colours coming, which is lovely. Okay, so now I've got a sentiment, and again this is from, I don't know whether it's from exactly the same set, but that set had, I'm going to take the bits that I've already prepared for this. So I've got this, it says deepest wishes for something, but part of it was missing. So I've just cut it as deepest wishes, because obviously it's down in the sea. And then there's a trident, and I've die cut this in white. And then all I've done is taken a dark marker. So this is just an alcohol marker, and all I do is literally just go over it and colour it through. So it means you don't have to have any particular colour. You can, with die cuts, colour them yourself if you've got a good alcohol markers, which obviously I've got lots of everything, as you know, because I'm quite a crafter. So that I think should have dried out now. So we've got those pieces here. Now before I go and put my card base on and ruin it all, I'm just going to clear up my work surface, take all of these bits off which has got all the splatters and things on. And some of these little splatters I might have to just clean off afterwards. I'm just getting the worst off so that it's not going to then go onto the back of my card, particularly if you're using white or something like that. Be a little bit cautious. So this time all I'm doing is just drying it off with my kitchen roll. There we go. Now this is the card base that I'm using, which is a blue, which is sort of a bit sort of seasidey, beachy, deep sea. And then this is as you know, I cut out of everything if I can, because the more you cut out of things, the less the wastage is. And as you know, I'm very much a waste not, want not person. So we're just going to take this in, and then I can just put that in on here. And this should be about 1/4 of an inch, give or take. Just about. There we are. Then this one can go in over the top. And this needs to have a little bit more. I'll put this in on here. Oops, I hope I didn't knock the camera then. Okay, so I'm just smoothing that out. And again, if you want to try and get it smoother, take it onto the other side and then just rub it down so it then gets the chance for the glue to stick in nicely, which it has. I can just take that round the edges because it had obviously a lot of water and texture and things on it. I just need to make sure that it goes nice and straight. Then we've got our Neptune, who's going to go in on here. Now I am going to put him up with some dimensionals because he needs a little bit of extra sort of height in here, I think. So let me just find some that I've got. I don't want them to be too thick, shall we say. So I'm using ones that aren't overly thick. These ones are fairly thin, and I'm just going to take some in. We'll take one down on there. See if we can take another one to go down on, whoops, down on here. I think that'll work. And then I'm going to have to cut a little bit off to take it on the tail, aren't I? Take it across the center like that, I think. Do I need a little bit up on his head? Probably. Let's just get some scissors and just trim these down a little bit because I don't want his hands and everything going everywhere. Right, let's see how that goes. That should just go down on his little arm like that. Might have to cut that off a bit. That was a little bit big. But as I say, these are quite small ones, so they're quite easy to what am I trying to say? They're quite easy to mail. They don't stick up too much, but they give just a little bit, which is what we want. So I'm just taking some of these off. And these ones are cheap as chips. They're which is why they're not very thick. But then for what I'm wanting on this, I don't need them to be overly thick. So in fact, I think I got these from, if you're in the UK, from Poundland. They, although they seem to be doing less and less, lots of the stores that used to do lots and lots of craft things don't seem to be doing so many now. So, but that's okay, that's fine. So he's going to go just about here in the middle, because I want to get the words to go in afterwards. So that's going to come in like that, which is nice. I've got deepest wishes, which are going to come in down on the bottom, and they're just going to be in, oh, I've got a little hole there. Now again, I could have put these on to what do you call them, sticky sheets, because it makes it a little bit easier, but the glue pen is pretty good. You can just get it's got a very fine nib so that you're able to draw with it relatively easily, and it tends to work quite well. So I just tend to make sure that I've got some on every little bit, because the bits that you don't have it on, you can guarantee they're the bits that'll lift up, and that's what you don't want. So I'm just going to put this in Deepest Wishes. Oops. That's going to go down on the bottom like that. Just put that in so that comes in nicely because it goes out on there. And then we've just got his trident. Now his trident is going to go across like that. So I think it probably doesn't need to have glue everywhere, but I'm just going to put it on just in case, because I'm not quite sure which bits are going to touch and which aren't. So it needs to come in across on here. Make sure that it's above the... Go. I'm going to put that bit down on it so it doesn't, because that's quite small. There we go, and we've got that bit on there like that. So we've now got the gold rounding on there. We've got the lovely Neptune going down into the sea, and we've got this lovely sort of sea background with the splatters and things behind as well. So I think that that's worked rather well. Hope you enjoyed it. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.